Hey everybody, what's going on? I'm Andy. I'm a self-taught software developer, and in this video I'm going to answer the question, how long does it take to become a software developer from start to finish, right? How long is that actually going to take for you? Because maybe you just started last week to learn this on your own to self-teach, or maybe you started for the last few months. You started a few months ago and you're really looking to become a software developer and you're trying to figure out, is this going to take me years? Is this going to take me months, weeks? Do I have to quit my job right now so I can do it in the short term, or do I have to really dig in for the long haul? So I'm going to answer that question based on my experience of mentoring dozens of people at this point to become software developers and really trying to figure out what are the different factors at play that make someone learn it in less time, more time, and just give you a general idea of what I've seen. So if you're new here, by the way, I'm Andy, and I'm a mentor to everyday people who are looking to become software developers, people who are looking to teach themselves the skills and learn a system for landing their first shop. So I highly recommend subscribing below. Make sure to hit the bell icon as well so you can get notifications anytime I put out a new video. So before we dive into exact timeframes that I've seen people land their first job, let's talk about everything all this is predicated on. So what I mean by that is, for you to call yourself a software developer, the way I look at it is you just gotta have to have a job, right? You have to have somebody who's willing to hire you, right? So somebody who either owns their own company or somebody who has the hiring decision making at a company, they just need to say, hey, we're gonna hire you for whatever reason, right? So you could be the most unqualified person in the world, but if somebody were to say like, look, I just really like you, I think that you have potential or something like that, and you can get hired and call yourself a software developer. It really doesn't matter how much you know. So there's no rule about how long it's gonna take or what you have to know or how much time it's gonna take or anything like that. That's silly. What it is you just have to put yourself in a position where you're actually able to be hired. So with that in mind, really what I've seen is that on the low end of things, usually the lowest of the low I've seen is it really takes someone about 3 months at the very low end. So in other words, if somebody just has all of the right advantages and a little bit of luck, of course, but most people take longer than that. And the longest I've seen, again, at the very far end of the spectrum is about 2 years. So 3 months to about 2 years. There are a couple different factors that really contribute to this, that really contribute to you being on the lower end or the higher end. The big one is previous exposure to computers, or a previous exposure to programming languages, a previous exposure to different technologies. So it sounds crazy, but there are some people out there who are looking to become software developers, and you may be one of them watching, that don't have much experience with just computers in general. Like email is still a little bit foreign to you, like going through to websites and that sort of thing. And so you're determined to get into this, and that's awesome. But let's be real, like that's just learning about computers, understanding some of the basics, how to work with operating systems. That's going to be a lot of what the work you're going to have to do, is overcoming some of those basic ideas that most people already get. Now, if you are already an avid computer user, if you feel comfortable around a computer, now the next thing that's really going to give you advantage is previous exposure to programming languages, or maybe you've have done something with networking before, or maybe you have built your own website or blog by scratch. Obviously, the more exposure, the better. But even a little bit of exposure can be helpful in just reducing the amount of time. I've worked with people who, as a kid, worked with programming languages, and then as they got older, they went away from that and they had their their normal job or whatever. So when I find that people had experiences when they were younger, breaking down computers, or again working with some old programming language that isn't even around anymore, that can give them an advantage, because as a kid it's almost like learning a different language as a kid. As you get older, it gets easier to learn different spoken languages when you have a foundation of learning a couple different languages. So it will definitely give you an advantage. It's not going to be the thing, it's not going to give you like this crazy advantage where you don't even have to work for it. You just show up and you become a software developer. Like, it doesn't work like that. It just, again, like these are tiny advantages that can shorten your learning curve potentially. Now, the next thing that I see is a little bit weird, but it's something I've just noticed, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm not a psychologist, so I don't know how to really explain this, but it's really about how you think. And there's really two types of people that I see in terms of how people think. Either you are more engineering mindset inclined, or you are not, right? Like, I've worked with people now who either come from an engineering background, or they are just more predisposed or more inclined to think like an engineer, or maybe they just have that sort of, maybe they went to school for something like that. But either way, some people they think in terms of systems. They are more logical thinkers. They can break down problems and they can problem solve a little bit better. And that's the type of person who has a really big advantage in this. They're just going to sort of walk into software development and really start understanding things more easily. Right. And what I mean by like thinking in systems is a weird one. Like it's hard to describe, and it's hard to, it's hard to say like, okay, somebody thinks in systems or somebody doesn't think in systems. But the way that software development works is you're not just writing lines of code that go on forever, right? Like lines of code are part of modules that are part of subsystems that are part of bigger systems, which may be part of subsystems of bigger systems. And so understanding how different systems interact to make a big overall working piece is like what engineers do. That's a big part of what they do. So I wasn't engineering inclined, or at least my thinking wasn't before I got into software development. But now I feel very strongly that like, oh, I totally get it. I totally see how that works and how that can be so beneficial. So if you are not an engineering thinker, that's again not a very technical term here, but if you're not inclined to think like an engineer, it's okay. It's not going to take you 10 years. It's just like another thing that would be helpful for you to shorten your learning curve. So if you are more engineering inclined, that's a good advantage. Make sure to use it. Now, the next thing that I see is really important as well is just having determination and grit. I don't care how talented you come into this, but if you don't have the determination and grit to get through those hard times, it's going to cost you in terms of making this process longer. Because again, there are just frustrating things that come along in this path. There are just times that are going to make you question your sanity, make you question your intelligence, make you really wonder if you can actually do this. And so the person to me who has cultivated grit and determination previously to this is going to be the type of person who really excels. Like the type of person who's going to walk through a wall or crawl through the mud. Like that's the person who can overcome those tough times and just keep showing up every single day. I cannot tell you how many people I've spoken with, like sad to hear this, but a lot of people I've spoken with who just have these periods where they got very frustrated with things and they ended up taking months off. And so now they're at the point where they've spent 3 or 4 years trying to figure this out. They've been doing this since 2014, 2015, 2016, and they still haven't figured it out because they just get so frustrated at times that they need months off, or they've taken a year off from this because they just don't have that, they haven't really cultivated that grit and determination to persevere through the hard times. So having this and cultivating it in previous experiences in your life is going to really transition well into this. Now, the last thing that plays a big role as well is your game plan or your roadmap, right? So when you first start learning to code, when you first find out that you can be a programmer, it's an exciting period of your life because you go on Amazon, you order a bunch of books, you go on Udemy, you buy a bunch of courses, and you start watching it, you learn. It's just like, it's so beautiful. It's so much fun. And I remember that. I was using the Head First JavaScript book to start. But once you turn the last page in the last book, or you get finished with your last course, what you do from there is really important, super important. So what you do to put yourself in the best position for a hiring manager, for a job hiring professional to give you the thumbs up, to even give you an opportunity to fight for that job, that is really important. Because if you don't have a roadmap, you're in trouble. Like it's just gonna, you have really risk bouncing around. Even if you do have a roadmap, that's a next really good step, but that roadmap needs to make sure that it's as straight a line to what you are going towards as possible, right? So you wanna make sure that there aren't tangents there, or you're not learning things that aren't going to directly contribute to you getting that first job. So if you don't have a roadmap, create one. If you do have a roadmap, ask people for feedback. Try to get a mentor in this field. If you don't know anyone who's a mentor, do as much research as you can. But you want to find a roadmap that's going to put you on the right direction. And you don't want to stray too far from that. You don't want to be distracted by all the temptation out there for this programming language and that programming language. You want to make sure that your roadmap basically will get you to your destination as soon as possible, and you don't go off on little side tangents. That's what I would say is a big factor in you getting to your first job in as short a period of time as possible. All right, so I hope this is very helpful in giving you a better sense of how long this is going to take for you. Maybe you're on the low end of 3 months because you have grit and determination, you have some previous exposure, you have a good roadmap, that sort of thing. But maybe you're on the farther end of the spectrum because you don't have a lot of grit and determination. You don't have a lot of evidence that you can stick through this. Maybe you don't have a lot of experience with computers, or you just don't even know what a roadmap is and you still have to create that. So that's fine, but at least it gives you a better sense of like where you're at in between the 3 months and the 2 years. It can give you an idea of how long this could actually take, assuming that you're studying consistently, you're studying those 15 to 30 hours per week, that you are constantly researching, that you're putting in the time and effort, and you are earnestly looking to do this. That's where I see a lot of people land. So I hope this video was helpful. By the way, if you are just getting into this, if you are new to programming and you are still confused about what's the best programming language to learn, well, I've created a free PDF report of the top 5 programming languages to learn in 2019, specifically aimed at beginners. So I just wanted to give you an overview of the top 5 things that I think you should learn, as you progress into this field. So I highly recommend downloading that. I'll put the link in the description below, or you can go to andysterkowitz.com/report. Other than that, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Have a great rest of your weekend, day, or whatever you're currently experiencing, I guess. All right, peace out.